Hi, what I'm doing is I'm basically going off a recipe that I saw online to make protein bars, and because of popular demand to how I make them a little bit differently, I'm going to show you my take on it. What he started off with was bulk oats, and because I only eat the long cooked still grain, I'm using bulk rye right now in this one. Starting off with a cup of either oatmeal or something that's similar, it doesn't really matter. Next, I'm choosing to use rice milk. He uses oat milk or some other things like that. I found this brand over at Kirkland at Costco, and it's only got 6 grams of sugar, and of course you want to go with the unsweetened. And we're going to use a half cup. Also, he talks about using 8 scoops of protein powder, and Tera's Whey, and this is specific to me, so you can use whatever protein powder you want, but this is the only kind that I found that doesn't have protein isolate in it. It does have whey in it. This is the only thing that keeps us from being completely vegan. It's honey, so if you go that far as a vegan, then there's honey as well. What we're gonna do is 8 scoops, because this stuff is so expensive, and I'm really only using it for taste. I'm just gonna use 3 scoops of that, and then you can't see what kind this is, but this is a completely raw, organic protein powder that I have here. If you're interested, I can find out the name and post that later. And these scoops are, of course, a lot bigger here. So I'm going to use 1, 2, now let's put the whole thing in here. Mix this together. I put the milk in first, which is not in his video, he puts in all the powdered stuff first before adding the milk in. And I guess that has to do with making sure that you get a nice, thick consistency. But I kind of did it the other way around, and just mixing it all here. But let's add in some of the other ingredients that'll hold it together. He says 3 tablespoons of honey. For me, that's just too much sugar. I found that what happened when I made my last batch, I ended up going through basically 8 days worth of protein bars in 2 days. This is really great because it's organic and raw. You can get it at Trader Joe's, so this is pretty awesome. And it's great if you have allergies or you have kids with allergies. This has 16 grams of sugar in it, which for those of you that are trying to keep your sugar down, a lot of sugar, but it's the best possible sugar you can have that's completely natural. He uses peanut butter. I use almond butter. Peanuts, a lot of kids have allergies to them, more so than other nuts because they're legumes. This is very expensive, about $17, $18. I got it at Whole Foods. It's organic raw almond butter, which is tough to find both organic and raw, and you don't really need to do that. It's just for my special diet. And what he suggests is either 3 tablespoons or 1/3 of a cup. And it'd probably be easier just to, instead of doing 3 tablespoons, to do 1/3 of a cup, so that you only have to scrape it out once instead of trying to get it off your fingers. The snack, a teaspoon of raw honey with a teaspoon of this mixed together. Delicious, especially if you're someone that doesn't use any refined sugar. So let's mix this all together here. And one of the things that I added that he did not have was cacao nibs. These are Mayan superfood. There's no sugar in it. You feel like you're eating a real protein bar with this in it. I don't want to fool anybody into thinking this is going to taste like chocolate chips or even carob chips. It gives you that extra boost of power. I mean, if this already didn't have enough of a kick in it, you could survive in the wilderness on these bars. He didn't talk about chia seeds either, but these are really a great source of fiber. I sneak these into my kids' smoothies every morning. Just kind of eyeball it. This will really clear out the pipes, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, what we have here, and I freaking love this thing. I got this from a girlfriend a few years ago, and it's now outlasted the relationship by over a year. Very, very powerful. I think it costs like $300-400. He said throw in about 3 tablespoons of flax seeds. I'm just going to take a couple handfuls. And remember, you got to keep these in the refrigerator or freezer when you're not using them, because they will spoil quickly. The 2 most powerful nuts that you can have are almonds and walnuts. I'm going to throw in a handful of walnuts into this thing, a handful of raw almonds as well. And everything I have is raw. And watch this bad boy. Alright. So here we go. You gotta really get in there on these things, they get stuck at the bottom. Look how much this made. I mean, this is just a lot. So because of this, it's going to change the consistency. So I am going to, again, eyeball. This is now so thick. I'm going to put, let's just say, to be about like a 1/4 cup. Work it all together. I'm going to need to put in more powder. The consistency a little bit thicker. So you can see I'm going to put another scoop of this. Okay. Oh, I know what I forgot to tell you about. This is the cacao, again in powder form, but it's got the maca in it, which is really another superfood, very powerful. It's also good for the libido. Pour a little bit of this in here. The last thing is to get organic virgin coconut oil. You can get raw, try to get that, but this is a great price at Trader Joe's. Again, this is expensive. I do all my cooking with it, but a very little amount. As you can see, I'm coating the pan. In the video, he puts it in the freezer or the refrigerator. Tried that, and the consistency just didn't work. So I coat it with the. This also gives it some flavor, coating it with the coconut oil or the coconut, and then it'll help it to slip out of the pan easier. Let's get this in here. All right, get your spatula out for this. I'm going to put it in. I'm testing it out. I tested it out with 350 the other day. It worked out fine for 10 minutes. Possibly you could go to 12 minutes. And typically that's how it is when you cook most things. So we're going to get this thing all spread out into the pan evenly. I guess that's what spread out means. Okay, and as you can see, that's what it looks like. And we're going to put it in. Well, I'll get back to you. So I had that in there for 10 minutes. Smells really good. Wish we had smell-o-vision here. You can see what I'm going to do is let it cool for about 5 minutes. And it's been enough time. This is a lot more dense than the last ones I made. We want to make into 8 pieces. Lastly here, I'll burn myself still. It's still quite hot. Let's get these puppies out. Oh, look, they come out really easily. Let's just try one of these. Okay. I can tell the difference with the tablespoon less of honey. It's not quite as sweet, but I would say it's just the perfect amount of sweet. And now that I'm thinking about it, possibly adding some pink Himalayan salt, just a couple pinches to the batter, probably gives a little more edge to it. Use 3 tablespoons of honey. I mean, this is pretty solid here. You put it in the freezer and wrap them up and take them with you out wherever you're going. All right, I'm gonna try not to go through all these in 2 days this time. All right, thanks.